starting from this one to Anthony Sheldon's 3.0. You started talking about 4.0 and 5.0, and Dr. Nautiyal was asking a question related to this. Now, because there are educationists and there are scientists, there are administrators like technocrats from LBSNA, so we have most of people from different backgrounds. And this is possibly the right blend of people. There are people, entrepreneurs like Advocate Lalit Joshi, who runs an institution. There are people from different scientific organizations. What is the way forward for a state like Uttarakhand, where you are in today? Because Dehradun happens to be a place where we are having about 1,500 schools, as people say, and close to 18 universities. So, what kind of education we should going for? What should be the way forward? And especially from the government perspective, what initiatives got to be taken? What interventions are required? What mindset or re-scripting is is needed in order to really look forward to this 21st century, third decade, as you say. So, primarily on this. And a capsule, as you always prescribe these capsules. MMP capsules, what we call.
Thank you, Durgesh, for this. Actually, it's very interesting. We often tend to forget the past, so I will try to recall a couple of things. The most important thing is that the will to make it happen. And we've got the history. I share this because I am personally involved. So IIT Kanpur was created in 1960. Many of you know before that there were great engineering colleges here. Guindy College of Engineering was long before, first college outside Europe. Banaras and Benko, I remember my senior brothers were there. Benko ka engineering college. Roorkee, for several years, I said some people's grandfather would have studied in Roorkee. But when IITs came, they just transformed engineering education. And the major transformation which I try to say, many things about it which are interesting, but there are 2 or 3 things which are very important. One is that the IITs accepted that science is the building foundation of engineering. I used to teach in engineering college at Allahabad, and as physics teacher we were called service department. We were considered second-rate people. The real thing was when they go to the department, mechanical, electrical, civil, and physics, chemistry, maths was service department. IIT Kanpur, physics, chemistry, maths were treated as part of the PhD programs, and that one director of IIT Kanpur was a chemistry professor, and so on. So that was one big difference. The second difference was that they started using computers before everybody else. Earlier to that, the slide rule wielding engineer was there. Engineer meant slide rule. But Kanpur had an IBM computer from US, Delhi had an ICL computer from UK, Chennai had a Siemens computer from Germany, Bombay had a Soviet computer, and so although the computers were different, the paradigm of programming for solving a problem had become different. And if you remember now, we are talking of creativity, innovation. When you program a problem, you are an innovator. When you execute a method which is already given in the book, you are an executor. And the third thing was that they were futuristic. See, it is unbelievable. In 1970s, I am teaching to IIT engineering students quantum mechanics. Which other engineering college would have allowed that to happen, that you are teaching quantum mechanics to engineering people? They said they have nothing to do with it. And today, Arvind Krishna from that place is head of IBM, and they are leaders in quantum computing. So this is the time for you to also look at. And I, of course, have roots from Uttarakhand, and therefore I have also seen practical evidence. So when I was in IIT Kanpur, as a faculty, we came to this site for Dussehra vacation. I really used to like to go to Kausani shortly after the Dussehra for that full moon, when there was a beautiful sight of the moon rising and the sun setting and so on. That was one of my favorite things. The full moon after Dussehra I used to come. And one of my students of IIT Kanpur had just got a job in Ranikhet in LSGD. And he told a story very interesting, 1972-73. He said the servant who agreed to come to work for him said, "Sir, अगर आप मुझे को calculus सिखाओगे, तो मैं आपके यहाँ काम करूँगा." I mean, you imagine the desire and hunger to learn. The person is not talking of salary, wages. He's saying, "आप IIT के पढ़े, आप मेरे को calculus सिखा दोगे." This is the spirit that we need to talk about. That we need to create a spirit, as you said, and therefore what we should say, and this is very common in education. You said there is a standard curriculum of NCERT, CBSE, etc., for everybody. But there is an additional curriculum, and if you remember in IB it is called advanced thing. IB you have a standard subject, standard level, and then advanced level. In the TOEFL family, there is an SAT, there is something called AP, Advanced Placement. So even while in school, you are doing something for college. In Cambridge also, there is O level, A level, etc. So we can create a Uttarakhand advanced level course for school students which prepare them at university level. And we give this online. So no quarrel with anything. And now people have got used to online, and you can create your own body, your own society, science research society, which gives them a piece of paper. Just like you remember, DOE used to give O level, A level, B level, C level certification. So if you have the support of the Uttarakhand government, you say, see, we have AMI, we have IIT, Grand IIT, etc. So you don't have to have everything UGC approved. You say, and in fact, if you recall, original constitution education was a state subject. In fact, to become a teacher in a state, we have to get what was called LT, licentiate in teaching. B.Ed came much later. For medicine, you had something called LMS, licentiate in medicine and surgery, before MBBS became the norm. In fact, we used to jokingly say LMS is licentiate in murder and slaughter, but the point was it was licentiate. So you can, as a state, you can say that to have the uplift of Uttarakhand and seeing that online learning has been well established, we are not making it compulsory but optional for those who want to go ahead. A whole curriculum of this thing. And exactly pitch it like that. For class 6 level, we will call this certificate level 1, maybe level 2, level 3. Now everybody is saying teach coding from class 6. You say coding, computational thinking, information theory, etc. So you can create a whole set of subjects from fundamentals to quantum information theory during the 7 years of schooling after that, and say you will get certificate at this. And all these are online courses. You may have existing courses, or you can create courses, or whatever. But it can be a completely transformational thing for people. And interestingly, once you do this online, people from other states could also be doing it. You are not coming in their way. And it will position you into a very serious thing. See, just like, I mean, if when I told you about 30 years ago, Chandrababu Naidu was the hero, why can't you become the heroes? Saying that we are the ones who are taking people further, and we are not quarreling with anybody. So what central government is doing, we are not saying we are better than you. You are very good, very good. But those who want more and who want to be this, we have a whole set of people who will support it. You create a kind of a advisory body or some body which controls standards, etc. And it is very easy to, and you keep very low costs. Because all this is happening electronically, you don't have infrastructure cost, you don't have that cost, and so on. And you can begin by teaching them good habits. So don't plagiarize. So now that UGC is well known, that their 4-year curriculum was plagiarized and everybody knows that. So it is that you can say one of our point is we are not plagiarized, we have thought it ourselves.
And since you have to be a big body of technology enabled education, so online this thing will fit in.
No, you already have, see, now it is accepted. Now online is no longer that thing. And all that you are saying, we are not saying online versus, we are saying this is for those who want online. So don't say we don't have internet, we don't have this, we are not talking of that. For those who have and want, here is something. But you unfortunately have the power to give them a piece of paper. Just like the DOE gave that paper O level, A level, B level, C level. And therefore you can proceed to do this. It's a very good opportunity for any state to take. And you have the advantage that you have a good name for school education, etc. And there are enough people who have been leaders in these kinds of things.
And we have.
I don't know whether you are aware, but there is a, I just heard, I'm not sure 100%, but there was, I think, one Pant himself in IIT Kanpur, Dr. Ranjan Pant, and he's the chief of cyber security in the White House. So we know that there will be such people. So whether they are part of yours or you just say that they are that kind of a thing is a different issue. But I think the point, my feeling today is that if you create something useful, people will go for it. Absolutely, no doubt, because people are realizing that that is the need and there is no provider of that need, because the traditional people, see, it takes a, we were just talking, it takes a lot of things to do something new. And there are enough takers who are wanting to do it. See, what has happened is, unfortunately, it is not only the private sector, the government is also after making money only. So CBSE, if you look at CBSE, look at making money from everything. वो डिजाइन थिंकिंग का कोर्स करेंगे उससे पूछो अपने डिजाइन थिंकिंग लगाया
Sir, there are school management people also.
नहीं वो so the point is, if you create something, and fortunately today you don't have to do a lot of things, you just pick up what people are doing. And as I said, this is my latest fascination, you should say we are going to create a quantum ready workforce. And I don't know how many of you know, but 14th April was for the first time in the world celebrated as World Quantum Day, because 4.14 into something is the value of Planck's constant in electron volt per second.
Yeah, please come again, sir. This one is something different.
Huh?
This one is this quantum day.
World Quantum Day.
No, 14th April was observed as World Quantum Day. Quantum scientists from more than 65 countries got together to do this to spread awareness of quantum. So so I'm very serious, just like long years ago we had only civil engineering. And many of you, do you know why it was called civil engineering and not construction engineering? And then you had electrical, mechanical, telecom, etc. The future is quantum engineering. वो career guidance वाली कहाँ चली गई? उनको बताना चाहिए कि 12वीं पास को कहो कि quantum engineering करो. और अभी quantum engineering ऑस्ट्रेलिया में हो रहा है, यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ न्यू साउथ वेल्स एंड सो ऑन. यूएस में कई जगह हो रहा है. एंड जस्ट लाइक इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग एक समय आया, पहले नहीं था, पहले सिविल इंजीनियरिंग ही था. एंड एनी आइडिया कि उसको सिविल इंजीनियरिंग क्यों कहते हैं, कंस्ट्रक्शन इंजीनियरिंग क्यों नहीं कहते हैं? क्योंकि उसके पहले सारी इंजीनियरिंग मिलिट्री वाले करते थे. MES, so it was MES which built roads and bridges and this and that. Civilians were allowed to build some of these things, and then it was called civil engineering.
Forms and engineering college.
हाँ, correct.
Sir, I have given one practical example just for 2 minutes. And I think at this forum, I'd like to say that I myself felt how I can contribute towards being a bridge between. Sir, उसको आप बंद कर लो. हाँ, तो ये resonance. How I wanted to become a bridge between academics and industry. I am a geologist, and I was working with 1GC and superannuated as general manager in charge operations in Gujarat. And now also I am on the advisory board of 1GC, and I am on the board of studies of Bombay University and Banaras Hindu University. And my purpose and aim now is to be a bridge between academics and industry, which I started before my superannuation. क्योंकि उसके लिए मुझको बैकग्राउंड बनाना था. So before my superannuation, I encouraged universities to come to our ONGC center at Gujarat and do their project work. So I encourage Bombay University, encourage IIT Bombay, then BHU. तो अब उनके करिकुलम में भी हमने इस पार्ट को ऐड करवाया, क्योंकि
किस पार्ट को?
ये the project part, the industry curriculum in their final year of their studies. Otherwise, industry visit और ये चीजें जो हैं खाली
हाँ, खाली ट्रिप हो जाती है।
ट्रिप हो जाती थी, और उसका we have put now in Bombay University 5% marks in the final year comes for the industry visit. And as an industry expert, I am there for last 5 years, and my purpose is to ensure that in the final year of the master's degree, industry visit is there or not. And not to be quoted, they say, सर अभी कोरोना में तो इंडस्ट्री विजिट नहीं हो सकता है। हमने कहा ऑनलाइन कराओ, ऑनलाइन उनसे प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट कराओ। तो आप एक कहावत है ना, लाख दो लगा दो घर तक पहुंचा दो। आपको इंडस्ट्री का एक्सपर्ट भी हम दे देंगे, टॉपिक भी दे देंगे, आप बच्चे दे दीजिए कि मिलकर काम कर लें। अभी जो ये करना पड़ेगा, क्यों? क्योंकि उनको अभी जैसे मैम कह रही थी ना कि किस तरह से हम वो कहते हैं कि कुछ बाहर की चीज आपको आती है कि नहीं, इसमें कोई डरने की चीज नहीं है, क्योंकि हर इंडस्ट्री चाहता है कि हमको थोड़ा एक्सपीरियंस वाला स्टूडेंट चाहिए। अरे स्टूडेंट तो वो पढ़ता रहा, उसको एक्सपीरियंस कहाँ से आएगा? तो जिसको कहते हैं ना कि ऑन द जॉब ट्रेनिंग, सो ऑन द स्टडीज जॉब एक्सपीरियंस, इस तरह के वर्ड्स को पॉइंट करके, एंड आई वाज देयर एज वन ऑफ द पार्टिसिपेंट इन, आई थिंक इट वाज 2016 इन बॉम्बे। I think Bombay there was a big seminar where the industry and educationists both were there. वो जो MBA का जो इंस्टीट्यूट है ना वहाँ पर बॉम्बे यूनिवर्सिटी उसको होस्ट, तो उसमें ये चीज़ें हैं। शॉर्ट में मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा कि यहाँ जो एकेडमिक्स और इंडस्ट्री के लोग बैठे हैं वो अपने सिलेबस में इस पार्ट को लाना बहुत ज़रूरी है। और मैंने तो अब स्कूलिंग लेवल में भी, अभी DVIT से साहब हैं, इनसे मैं मिलूँगा। अभी कोरोना के दौरान मैंने ये देखा कि स्कूलिंग पार्ट में आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, कोडिंग, मशीन लर्निंग, इसमें भी हमको कंट्रीब्यूट करना है। अभी वो पैसा बनाने वाली चीज़ छोड़ दीजिए, मैंने ये देखा कि सुपर एनुएशन के बाद हमको कंट्री ने बहुत दिया, ONGC ने बहुत दिया, अब हम क्या दे सकते हैं? अब हम क्या दे सकते हैं, ये बहुत जरूरी है। एंड नाउ वी आर डूइंग दैट। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Sir, can I?
Just a minute.
Nothing but very absent.
I just want to make an announcement. All of you see this. All of you see this star on your tables. So, if there are, Doon is known for K-12 education, right? Doon is school, Woodrow, this thing, that thing. No parallel. Why not we get the same status in higher education? Why not we be hub for quantum energy education, higher education? This star is 3D printed in Siddharth's lab, and he has presented to all of you symmetrical, physical, chemical, spiritual symmetry. All are same, and this will bring lot of luck to all of you. So take this with you as a token of love from Siddharth and Technohub. Thank you. You go to next question? Yes. Yeah, so we have only 15 minutes left because he has to go, but that doesn't mean that discussion will stop. Discussion can continue over the dinner after that because he is in business of thinking. Anybody who wants to spend time with him tomorrow, with his permission, so we can facilitate, talk to Dr. Rima.
Even after 9 p.m.
Even after 9 p.m. Even after 9 p.m. with his permission. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
No, please.
It's not required. It's not required. It's not required. Somebody and everyone, to everyone. Basically, I'm Pankaj Bulkar and I'm running a school, a senior secondary school and a special school also in Dehradun. And it's very interesting. We are discussing about the education and we are on education is there. मैं बहुत देर से समझने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि एजुकेशन जो है, बच्चों को देखता हूँ, छोटे बच्चे हैं, IK से आते हैं, बहुत छोटे बच्चे हैं, मुझे लगता है कि वहाँ पे ज़रूरत है हमें काम करने की, छोटे बच्चों की। और बेसिकली कॉलेज के बच्चे भी हैं, जब उस एज में पहुंचते हैं तो जो इनोवेशन की जो बात हो रही है वो इनोवेशन समझ में शायद आता होगा लेकिन खून में नहीं होता है तो शायद नहीं हो पा रहा है। तो मुझे लगता है कि अगर हम वहाँ पे काम करें छोटे बच्चों के साथ IK से लेके प्राइमरी लेवल तक, तो मैं चाह रहा था कि प्रोफेसर साहब यहाँ पर हैं, कुछ ऐसे आइडियाज हैं ताकि वहाँ पे काम हो और शायद आने वाले 20 साल की हम बात करते हैं कि एजुकेशन बदल रहा है या बदलेगा या हम बदल सकते हैं, तो वही बच्चे बदलेंगे, हम बदलने वाले नहीं, हम बदलने की कोशिश में सहायता जरूर कर सकते हैं। तो मेरा आपसे ये था कि इस तरह का कुछ अगर है जैसा आपने भी बताया।
Let me elaborate on this. I think they are also trying to wrap up. You see, we have, again, you are using innovation but thinking classically. Classically is children are the future. And I want to share with you a couple of things. There's a very big opportunity in lifelong learning. And I'm talking of it with a business sense. That ये बच्चे वाला जो है वो अपनी जगह है, but lifelong learning is a huge thing. We are writing off anybody over 18 or over 20 कि अब ये कुछ सीख नहीं सकता. That is not right. And I will share with this, many of you know, in neuroscience there is this word called neuroplasticity. We say that neurons are continuously generated and we continuously learn new things. There is a very famous psychologist, Carl Jung. Carl Jung का नाम सुना है किसी ने? Okay. So Freud, Adler and Jung were the three main psychologists. Carl Jung is famous for something. I once upon a time stumbled upon a book by him called Modern Man in Search of a Soul. 1920 के आसपास की किताब है. उस समय भी मॉडर्न मैन था, उस समय भी वो सोल सर्चिंग कर रहा था, और इसमें जो नंबर ऑफ एसेज, one of the very interesting essays there is the stages of life. तो हमारे यहाँ 4 आश्रमों की व्यवस्था है. जिन लोगों ने शेक्सपियर पढ़ा है उनको पता all the world the stage and 7 stages of life and so on so forth. ये बात कर रहा है स्टेजेस ऑफ लाइफ की, और बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग बात ये कर रहा है कि आप लोगों को आइडिया होगा, साइकोलॉजी में इसको कहा जाता है द पीटर पैन फेनोमेनन, कि वो बच्चा बड़ा ही नहीं होता है. सो मैच्योरिटी और एडल्टहुड जो चाहिए वो उसमें डेवलप नहीं हो पाते. इमेज चाहिए ना, आपने कहा वो माइकल जैक्सन टाइप लोग ऐसे डिस्टॉर्टेड पर्सनालिटी हो जाते थे, दैट दे आर ग्रोन अप प्रोबेबली बट दे आर डिस्टॉर्टेड. सो व्हाट कार्ल जंग सेज इज that the same kind of maladjustment that happens when a child doesn't become an adult also happens when an adult in later part of life does not understand the changing world. तो उसका एक बड़ा अच्छा स्टेटमेंट है, where is the school for the second half of life? हम लोग समझ रहे schooling is only for first half. Where is the school for the second half of life? And all of us who are 25, 30 beyond need that schooling. And it is not in the same skills for the young. It is in terms of becoming a responsible grown adult and doing that. और ये बहुत important चीज है, इसलिए मैं कहता हूँ this is a very big business opportunity next to religion. This is the big business opportunity that what do you do in the second half of life, and we are trying to work. कहता है कि क्या होता है कि हम youth को इतना प्रीमियम देते हैं कि वो उसका 100 साल पुराना एक्सप्रेशन है that fathers want to look like the brothers of their sons and mothers want to look like the younger sisters of their daughters. तो हम ये कहते हैं अभी हम सबको डेटा साइंस सिखा देंगे. अरे डेटा साइंस नहीं सिखाओ, उसको सिखाओ how to be a good human being and elderly human being. और वो ये कहता है कि you must understand that again जिनका बायोलॉजी का बैकग्राउंड है, most animals die shortly after giving birth to their children and so on. We have another 40 years beyond childbearing, because there is something to human existence which is much more than childbearing. That is an important part, a part of continuity, but there is a lot more part. And Kata, this is this people who carry all the knowledge, value, wisdom about being a human and carry it to the next generation. So actually बहुत भारी नीड है. ये सिर्फ लोगों को फैक्ट्री वर्कर बनाना या करियर या जॉब वाला नहीं है, जिंदगी जीना. और मेरा बड़ा फेवरेट थीम है लीडिंग अ लॉन्ग मीनिंगफुल लाइफ. Now, you may not like to believe it, but you are all going to live long, long lives. मतलब 80, 85, 90 will be routine. मतलब हम लोग अब जब देखते हैं अपने लोगों को तो वो छोटे बच्चे तो दिखते ही नहीं हैं. In any random gathering and a social thing, you will see very few children. Mostly it is all people above 60, जिनको मैंने पढ़ाया था उनसे मिलता हूँ. After I retired, I did this, that, वगैरह. I have a senior colleague of mine who was on pension for more years than he drew salary because 40 साल की उम्र में IIT में अपॉइंट हुए आफ्टर PhD पोस्ट डॉक्टर 60 में रिटायर हो गए. आज 85 के हैं और चेन्नई में हैं. और इंटरेस्टिंग है तो मुझसे मिलने आए थे दिल्ली में तो उन्होंने कहा पंत मिलना है. मैंने कहा ठीक है. तो दिल्ली में एक जगह है हैबिटेट सेंटर, तो वहाँ मैं अक्सर मिलता हूँ. उनका एक लाइब्रेरी लाउंज है. सो मैं वैसे भी सॉफ्टली बोलता हूँ. ये लाइब्रेरी लाउंज था तो मैं धीरे धीरे बोल रहा था. उनका पंत जरा जोर से बोलो, आई बिकम अ लिटिल हार्ड ऑफ हियरिंग. But he is a teacher. He teaches quantum mechanics. He doesn't have to hear anybody. कौन हो तो सवाल पूछेगा. IIT कानपुर के प्रोफेसर, कोलंबिया के PhD, दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी के ये क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स पढ़ा रहे हैं. हमको अपने मन से पढ़ना है, सुनने की जरूरत नहीं. So what I'm trying to say is this is a huge thing for people who are looking for business opportunities, and I try to tell this to people. See, हमारी दिक्कत क्या है कि जो so called entrepreneur है, वो भी नकल मारना चाहता है, वो सोचना नहीं चाहता है. वो और simple चीज ले लीजिए. Many people simply have no idea what to do with their lives. When if they were human beings, they would know there's so many things you could do with your life. And not only that, in some of them you can also make money. मैं उस पर भी बात करना नहीं चाहता हूँ, लेकिन I can guarantee you, you will hear stories of people who earned more money after they were 60 than they earned before they were 60. Because they just continue to be creative, innovative, follow their passion and so on, rather than conforming to fit into a certain home. So I think I'll stop here. And
The last question from Reena. We didn't let her ask questions, so last question.
Basically, it's not just asking question. I wanted to, kind of understand the gist of all discussion that happened. And just a few things that I wanted to say regarding that. One is like, what I can understand from you is that we need to give that little space to children, and not only children but to ourselves also, so that that little element of creativity comes. Because somewhere through this entire rigmarole of life, running around from one place to the other, trying to teach discipline to children, we end up their lives as creative people and end up our lives as creative people also. And as you said about giving that project-based compulsory or project-based training to children, and not have schools or colleges not having that. I have a small submission to make. When I joined school, again, just like any other ICSE school had its own little silos where things would be done. But then I realized that if I want to do something with my kids, I have to make my own space. And I have to create it within the parameters that I was given, those 45 minutes of my class, plus whatever little time. So every little time that I was excited to do something, I involved them along, and that is how we created our own little space. And our journeys, when we did experiential learning, we went out, we did projects, we did go to various places within Dehradun, because Dehradun is blessed with a lot of institutions of national and international repute. And if you take the children, it just widens as to what they're looking at. And similarly, I felt that as a teacher, I also wanted to learn. And probably that was the reason that excited me to, get along with them. And every time they asked me a question and I did not know the answer, happily I told them, guys, I don't know, but we'll get the answer. And I think that journey was very interesting, because suddenly I was getting answers from them more than I could give them answers. And then we became good friends, and then they would come up with questions, and I had the courage to ask them questions. This is what I'm facing, what do you think I should do? And to my amazement, they had better answers to my problems. And then I also found that sometimes, if I had to do some work, I found it easier to tell them that, guys, why don't you do this? This is the issue. I have a program planned in the evening. Why don't you do it? And it went off much better. And in fact, during Corona, when it started, we were doing 2019, we were doing Wildlife Week, and everybody was sitting in their homes. and we did an amazing 7 days wonder for Amazon wildfire. And trust me, I have the videos to show you what creative work the girls did, sitting kilometers away. They came together to make videos, they came together to do puppet shows, to do nukkad ratas, and they were absolutely fantastic. So I think what Sir you rightly said was that we really need to acknowledge and give that space to kids and accept that creativity has no age bar, it has no limits. I think it can come just from anywhere. And let it come. And just probably get immersed into it and enjoy the creativity. Because if we are trying to make all children become multi-talented, I don't know sir, but sometimes I feel this word multi-talented is very badly used. Everybody wants to be multi-talented. Every parent comes and says, मेरा बच्चा भी सब चीजें कर सकता है and मैम उसको बस मौका दे दीजिए. So let him find his own way, like the water finds way through the desert. It just takes its own course. Nobody tells water to go this side or that time until we make a dam. And when we make a dam, we actually dam the water. Because when the fertility is gone, and so the water quality goes. So I feel this is what little I could understand. And as ever, since it's going to be time that sir needs to leave, I feel it's my present duty that I should thank. And I don't know what to say, sir. I'm so humbled and I never cease to amaze with the energy that he carries and all the things that he connects. He connects it so beautifully, right from history to mythology to science to quantum, and you know, it's such an amazing journey, and suddenly I feel like a little kid that wants to run behind knowing everything. Okay, what is the next thing coming and what is the next thing coming? And I hope that you keep coming again and again, and we hope that we keep listening to you. And yes, I think you ignited a lot of questions in many people's mind, and all of us here, maybe even when you are not around, probably some of us might wait and talk to you again post your talk. And meanwhile, we can also have a long discussion while we are having a dinner. And it is, it's an honor to actually thank you all for coming here and making this entire evening so eventful and exciting. I can see a lot of people from different sectors. And of course, and the most amazing thing is we have a banker with us who is an amazing physics person. Sir, if you could please stand up and introduce. It was such a wonderful meeting, sir. And when we were talking, we found that he is one of these passionate physicists, and it lit up his eyes when I told him that we have a person coming who talks physics besides everything else, which he is so fluent in. And he took out his time to come and sit with us. Similarly, I find a lot of people from diverse background, ma'ams, she's a dean of art, so something not to do with science, but then the excitement of coming, because I think commonly we all feel that creativity or education has nothing to do with the silos that we have here. So thank you very much for this evening. Thank you everybody for the. Please do join us for dinner, and thank you.
The least that you could do, Imaji, the least that we could do is as now the collective gratitude from this audience is let us all around.
Of course, and I got it here.
And pray that we have him quite often, because he said lifelong, right? So we have him again and again, and we similarly have these kind of evenings quite often here in the. Thank you. Please join us for dinner, and the discussion should continue.